Samsung have invested heavily into AI for the Galaxy S24 series. Samsung has made significant investments in the fields of artificial intelligence in relation to the development of the Galaxy S24. Samsung has put a lot of money into AI for the Galaxy S24. Samsung has invested heavily into AI for the Galaxy S24. Hashtag Samsung, hashtag Galaxy S24, hashtag AI. Samsung has made significant investments into the fields of artificial intelligence for the Galaxy S24. That intro was stylized and contextualized from AI in the Samsung keyboard on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Today, I'm going to show you every single Galaxy AI feature that you can use on the Galaxy S24 series. Let's go. So with AI being the buzzword of last year, and quite rapidly so, Samsung has thrown a lot of resources into the development of AI in the Galaxy S24 series. Some obvious ways that they've done AI is obviously through things like photo editing, which has kind of been the forefront of AI for a long time now. And there are some that are less obvious, things to do with productivity that will honestly change the way you use your phone. To go through the extensive list, we are going to break it down into different categories. We're going to start with the obvious way, the photos, and how Samsung has incorporated AI into gallery and things like wallpapers. Then I want to show you how Samsung has brought it to life to do with keyboard and voice, because there's some very exciting things that they've incorporated through that way. And we'll finish off with some amazing productivity AI integrations, stuff that you will honestly use in your day-to-day, and I can't wait to incorporate it into my workflows. And at the end, we'll finish off with a collaborative effort with Google, an AI feature that will make searching a lot easier. Okay, starting off with photos. Samsung have got a couple of different incorporations here into how you can use AI and photos. There's been a lot of different takes and rumors about how Samsung was going to do it, but I've found that they've done it in two pretty significant ways. One is kind of minor, and one you'll be using quite a bit. Firstly, before I do officially start this, Samsung have made sure that when you are going to use an AI function, it lets you know that this is AI for the first time. And then you can opt in to each individual service, and I guess that's for a privacy thing. It's nice that they've done that, and it definitely helps bring awareness to the feature that you're using. Okay, wallpapers. Samsung have incorporated generative wallpapers, but not in the extensive way you might think. There is some control to it. If you're in the wallpaper menu, you can click on change wallpaper, and there's a menu here called creative. In the creative menu, you then see generative. And what you'll see once you're in here is a whole different bunch of styles that you can select, and then some edits that you can make that AI will generate for you. You can't just enter a random prompt and it'll generate it. There are some fields that you can enter into and some actual selections that you can make in those fields. So for example, if I go into the night option, it will give me some prompts in there to be able to customize the night photo wallpaper. For example, I can hit abstract blue beach with coral reef. Then you hit generate, and those fields will recognize and then generate 4 different wallpaper options. I can then go in and change those prompts if I want to, select different colors, select different styles, and it will change it, but they're the fields that you can edit, and it'll create those for you. It's pretty neat. You can obviously see how some people can have some fun with this. Moving over into the gallery, and Samsung have pretty much incorporated it in the way you might think, but maybe not to the extent that you might have thought. Obviously, Samsung has an object eraser that's been in the photo editor since oneui 3 now, so it's been around for a while, but that works a little bit differently to how this is going to work. Object eraser is done on the device, and it's just using some basic device AI to fill in what you've removed. This is doing something completely different, and it's a cloud-based service, one of the only really cloud-based services of AI that Samsung have incorporated. When you go to edit a photo, you'll see in the bottom left corner a AI button. This is Samsung's Galaxy AI logo that you'll probably see throughout a lot of the different apps and functions that I demonstrate today. When you click on this, on the photo that you've chosen, it will bring up the generative edit screen. Now, you might think that you can pinch out and fill in all 4 borders, but that's not how Samsung have done it. Samsung have made it here so basically you are correcting a bad photo. If you've taken a crooked photo and then it's cut off the top of a building or it doesn't look nice, you can use the slider function down the bottom to slide across and then generate and fill in the gaps that it's created. When you hit generate, you watch it do its thing. It doesn't take too long and it'll fill in the option. What you can also do in here is select objects and subjects within the photo too. So if you have something that's in the wrong place, if you have something that shouldn't be there at all, you can select it and then Samsung will allow you to make it bigger, move it, or delete it. What happens when you delete it is that Samsung will do a couple of different things potentially. They might put a random object there altogether, or they might try and blend the background back into itself. You can't really choose either which option it takes. It kind of decides for you. I'd like to see in the future an option where it gives you different selections that you can make, but right now this is what we've got. It serves a purpose, but it's not as extensive as you might have thought. When you save this as a copy, because that's the main way that it gives you, it will actually put an AI watermark in the bottom left corner, so people can know this was an AI edited photo. This watermark will then transfer across when you share it, no matter what platform you're sharing it to. Funnily enough, if you use the traditional object eraser, you can get rid of it. So maybe you'll want to do that. What comes next is close to my favorite, but not quite. Samsung have done a lot of things when it comes to their keyboard and also when it comes to voice. Let's show you what they are. Starting with the Samsung keyboard, you'll actually see there is the AI button present in the toolbar of the keyboard above the number line, which every keyboard should have a number row, but I digress. When you select this, there are 3 prompts that you can choose from to activate for AI. The first one's translate, which you select before you start typing any words at all. What this will do is, one, allow you to choose your native language, which would be English for my case, and then also allow the language that you are translating to, so the person you're texting with, for example. It brings up a little box, so rather than entering messages into the standard text field, you do it into the translate field. Type away as normal, and when you hit send, it'll send it in English. What will happen then is Samsung will translate that on the fly and then send it the other person the translated version. And then you will receive both versions back if you've turned it on in the settings that way. And it just works so quickly and efficiently, and it removes that barrier of needing to go into third-party apps to do this. Google Translate, for example. And the best part is it doesn't just need to be working in Samsung Messages. This will work across a host of different third-party apps as well. WhatsApp, for example, is already supporting this, which is great to see. There's a setting in here that allows you to choose the individual apps that you enable this for, but honestly, just leave it on. It's great. The other aspect of the keyboard is writing assist. This is going to be sensational for people who are too blunt, for example. It's broken down into 2 services. The first one is writing style. You got a taste of that from my introduction, where I went through the different styles that Samsung can translate things into based on just a single prompt at the start. How this works is you write your text or your words as normal, and then when you select writing styles, it will scrub through the body of text that you've wrote and then suggest different styles that you could use instead. Professional, casual, polite, social. It gives you a whole host of different things that you can then move into. Think if you're writing an email, and let's say you want that email to be more professional. You can write it in any way you like, and it will then contextualize it and tone it into professional. Something that's going to be very efficient to use and make life a lot easier for a lot of people. There's also grammar and spelling that will basically scan the whole paragraph, and then you can instantly replace it. So if there's multiple spelling errors, you don't just have to replace individual words, it will replace the whole thing. Really good if you're bad at spelling. Regarding the voice aspect to this, it's all about translation. Samsung have built 2 different ways that you can use translate on the phone. The first is something called Interpreter, which you'll actually find in the quick panel. Interpreter is, I want to say, basically like the Google Translate app, but with some added quirks and benefits that actually make it a lot more fun to use. Also, I don't think this relies on cloud. So if you don't have an internet connection, this should still work. I really like what they've done here. So you set the languages that you're wanting to communicate in. But what I really like too is that Samsung has built this little button. So you press this button and it'll flip the top part of the phone around. So if, let's say, you're conversing with someone opposite you, they can read their part and you can read your part. And also the speaking and the microphones can also operate in that way too. It's clever. And I definitely wish I used it when I went to Italy last year, although I'm going again, so I can use it then. There's different settings that you can enable for this as well, including things like tap to talk, which will remove the function of automatically switching microphones once it's translated someone talking. That one's really good when you're in person with someone, but this next one works over phone calls. So similar to how Samsung introduced Bixby Text Call last year, Live Translate has been introduced into the phone dialer. The premise being, if you call someone up or receive a call and you notice it's in a different language, you can hit Live Translate and it will then send a little prompt to them via voice that this call is being translated for them. It will then translate what you say and then communicate it to them in their native tongue, and then vice versa back the other way. Before I demonstrate it, I want to dive into the settings. You first need to set the language that you're speaking in. So for my case, it's going to be English. After that too, you can set 2 different voice styles and speech speed. So you can have it be slow or fast, and it's on a sliding scale. There's also a toggle to mute your voice, so the other person will only hear the translated voice, not yours. Could remove some confusion, but it might cause a bit of a delay. Then you go and set the other person that you're talking to. Now, it might seem counterintuitive to set a single language that it's always set at, but Samsung thought of that. Samsung knew that that was going to be a problem, so they actually allow you in the settings to set individual languages per contact. So if you know you're calling someone that speaks French, set them to French. If you know you're calling someone that speaks Italian, set them to Italian. It's so good that Samsung have given you these options. I'm so excited to start calling people and just asking them to speak the language I know they can. It seems strange. You can also mute the other person's native language too, so you don't get confused by hearing Italian and then English. It'll just play you English. The good thing is they don't need to be using Samsung for this to work either. It's all run by your phone and being done and processed on the device itself. Wow. There's also a transcript of the call too that will play and you can read as you're sort of on the phone. Here's the demo. Excuse the poor Italian.
Hello.
Ciao, è in corso la traduzione della chiamata e l'aggiunta di sottotitoli in tempo reale. Ciao.
Ciao, come stai? I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Io sono brava, grazie. Come stai?
It's amazing. It's going to be a game changer for a lot of people who have language barriers and want to communicate with family members that have maybe moved over here. It's going to change a lot of people, and it works really seamlessly. Last aspect of Galaxy AI that I really love is the productivity side of things. Samsung haven't just thrown it into the gallery and made the fun parts visible. They've also made sure there's real tangible benefits that can speed up and make your life more efficient, especially when it comes to work and studying too. This will be very good for uni students. Samsung has sprinkled AI into a few of their native apps. Samsung Internet, Samsung Notes, and the voice recorder are the main ones that we're going to cover. With Samsung Internet, when you are in the browser, down in the bottom toolbar, you'll see the AI button again. There are 2 options in there for you to enable: summarize and translate. Translate's quite an obvious one. It does work really nicely though. It translates the entire web page and actually makes it look like it was part of that web page to begin with. It doesn't overlay it or anything like that. It makes it look proper. The one I absolutely adore here is summarize, especially for things like football match reports. If you go onto an article and you think that looks too long, you can press the summarize button and it will then scrub through the article and then give you the key points that the article makes. I love this. Like if I just wanted to see how the goals were scored and I didn't want to have to read that someone received a yellow card in the 50th minute for a slide tackle that they shouldn't have, it will just break down and give me those points. The good thing here too is that you can go either standard or detailed. So if you press the button in the top right, it will allow you to change between the 2 and give you a more detailed breakdown of that article. Wow. You can translate it from here too, or you can copy it as well. You can copy it out of here, paste it into a message or a note, and that's where we're going to head next, Samsung Notes. How they've incorporated it in Samsung Notes is something I'm really excited for, especially just to see how people start to use it. I know how I'm going to use it and how I've already been using it, and I'm really excited to see what gets done afterwards. In the toolbar of the Notes app, you can see there's the AI button again. When you press this button in the toolbar, there are 4 different options that you can select from. There's auto format, summarize, correct spelling, and translate. Correct spelling and translate, we've kind of already seen how that works in the keyboard, so I'm not going to focus on them. I want to focus on the first 2. For this demonstration, I'm going to bring in one of my scripts that I use to record my YouTube videos. The reason why I want to do that is because this will actually change how I can script my videos and the output that it produces. I can select auto format and it will select text for me. It will automatically select 1 page and then you can drag it to however much you need. There is a limit though. There's a max limit and it'll tell you that it's gone too far and bring it back to the maximum that it can do. When you hit auto format, it will then ask you to choose what format you want. Do you want it to be in bullet points, or do you want it to be in a meeting notes format? Because what I want is everything to be clean and neatly organized, so when I look at it later, I can actually break down the points that I'm going to make. Auto format delivers on that exceptionally. It honestly puts everything neat and organized and clearly defines the points that I'm trying to make so greatly that it's going to make life so much easier. You can also hit summarize too. So if I wanted to put a summary of my script somewhere, like maybe write a post for social media, I can summarize some of the points I've made into a more concise form and then pop that onto X, for example. So many great things that this can bring, and I love that it's natively part of the Samsung experience. The last productivity feature is to do with transcriptions, and it's inside the voice recorder. Before I show it to you and how it works, just go into the settings and let's turn a couple of things on. In here you can turn on summarize, so after you've done your recording, this will make a lot more sense. Once you've done, let's say, a recording of an in-person meeting, so you've got a few people sitting around a table chatting, the voice recording will just record as normal, and then after the recording is finished, you can transcribe the audio. So it will scroll through the footage, it'll separate the words and make everything clear and understand what you're saying. Then what it does is it actually separates the speakers. So if you've got multiple different speakers chiming in, it will say speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, and tell you what they're saying. I can imagine offices everywhere clamoring for this type of feature to allow them to understand the meeting flow a little bit better and not just rely on minutes, for example. Really good, because when you click on a word, it jumps to that part of the meeting. What you can also do is after the transcription is completed, you can summarize it. So it means it can take something that's maybe an hour long and give you sort of a brief outline of what actually took place in the notes that have been made. That's the body of Galaxy AI, but there's one more. And this was actually a collaboration with Google that they've worked on closely together to bring to life for the S24. It's called Circle to Search. I want you to imagine a time when you've been scrolling through the internet and you found a picture of something and you have absolutely no idea what it is. There's no information in the article, there's no context in the social media post that you're reading. It's just a beautiful picture, but you have no idea what you're looking at. Circle to Search is going to fix that. What you can do here is hold down the home area, so whether you're using navigation or the nav buttons, hold down the bottom there and it'll bring up the Circle to Search. And it's that simple. You simply circle around or tap on the object that you want to search, and within seconds, less than seconds, it searched it for you and prompted you with results. It's so good and accurate as well. I tried it on my son's football. It's just a football, like, yeah, it's got some branding on it, but it's not like it tells you what the ball is. And then the Google search will quickly sift through the internet and find it for you. It brings you shopping pages, it brings you information pages, it brings you location information. So if it's like a restaurant, finds all of that for you. Clever. And again, it just shows the collaboration and the partnership that Samsung have in the industry with Google, with Microsoft, that is going to really drive this AI forward. And Samsung, for me, seems like the brand that you want to be on to ride the AI train. I'm honestly super excited to see where it goes from here. And if you're excited as well, this is the place you will want to be. So like this video and subscribe, because I'm going to take you on a journey that explores everything that Samsung is doing and the direction they're going in. Come follow me on my socials as well. I've been using the S24 Ultra for some time now, and I'm going to be posting photos and thoughts on it as I sort of keep using it. So make sure you come follow me on X and also on Instagram. I'll see you in the next one. You!